What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the show. Today is going to be awesome if you are in the wedding space or you're in the brand space, learning about content distribution, learning about so many things when it comes to putting in hard work and learning how to see your inputs actually create good outputs for you, growing your creative business, either as a photographer, as a filmmaker, as a social media manager, whatever you are. Today's guest, not only a friend,
amazing.
She's a friend of the show. She's been on the show before. She's a phenomenal business owner, amazing, amazing photographer. She actually shot our wedding, which is really cool. So special place in our heart for Beba, Vowels. Beba's on the show today. She is awesome.
Yeah.
This episode's so good, guys.
If you haven't heard of Beba, I think you've been living under a rock. Beba has been in the wedding industry since 2018. The story of how she got started is actually really funny, and she's going to share it on this podcast episode for you today. But she is awesome. She's incredibly talented, but what we love about Beba is that she is so strategic. The things that she does in her business really pay off. It's not just hard work. She also combines a lot of strategy, which is so
Very
cool,
strategic, yeah.
which has led to having an incredible wedding industry career where she's shot destination weddings all around the world. She just shot Bachelor star Hannah Godwin in Italy last year.
It's a crazy wedding.
Incredible stuff. And to the point where she's now been able to hire an associate team underneath her to shoot weddings underneath her brand, which is so cool. And I know that's a huge goal for a lot of wedding photographers out there. And so she's been able to do that. She's led content retreats. She's done so many cool things, and she shares it all on this episode. So you guys are going to love it.
Yeah, it's a great episode. So if you're new here, my name is Joey, and this is Christy. And we started Creative Rise back in 2019 with one goal, one singular goal, to help more creatives just like you get paid to do what you love. And our little thesis on that is that your creative has got to be good. But once it gets good, it's all about the business side. It's all about learning the business side of the business and really getting proficient in the strategy. So we're gonna be talking about that a lot today. But if you're here for that and you love that, make sure you listen to as many episodes of this podcast as you can, because it's really gonna help your business. But one of the other things we get to do that we love here at Creative Rise is we have a 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind that just got started, and we want to update you on some of the wins. So week 1 was all about building offers, pricing those offers, positioning yourself well, making sure your business model is actually designed to grow. And then week 2 is now about branding all that, actually making sure your branding, your messaging, your positioning is dialed on in. And we got some really, really fun wins from week 2. And this first one's really fun because it's actually Beba's husband. So
yes, he was
shout out to Bo.
He was in the military, and now he's starting a content agency on the brand side, and it's so sick.
He's killing it. So shout out to Bo. Bo just signed a $4,500 deal this week for some awesome content he's doing with the brand. He's very, very excited about. Shout out to Jason. Jason collected this week in week 2, $2,000, the biggest real estate listing video he's ever done for a house. It was a $3.5 million beach house, which is pretty nice. Shout out to Ben and Marcus. They just signed a 3-month retainer. They're from Filmatic. They run Filmatic up in Northern Idaho, which is really, really cool. They're doing some really cool stuff there. Angelique just signed a 3-month retainer for $500 a month for some Google ad works, some paid search stuff on the Google platform. She's killing it with her agency. And then we've got Tammy, who is an amazing, amazing studio owner, photographer, and getting into some filmmaking stuff. She's killing it out of LA. And she just signed a $2,500 deal on some stuff she's really excited about. Emily from Vancouver this week just signed a deal for $1,800. Actually, some photo sessions for a YouTuber. Very unique, very cool. Emily's awesome because she's got a spin where she shoots mainly like 95% of her stuff is on film, which is really cool. So she's like taking us all back, going original, and she got some great, great work. Cody, shout out to Cody. Cody is in Canmore, Alberta. Have you ever been? One of the most beautiful places ever. Cody just signed an ambassador deal with one of his favorite all-time brands. So shout out to you, Cody. That's a huge deal, man. I know you've been working towards that. Shout out to Tyler Thompson down south here in the U.S. Tyler, great dude. Oh, actually just opened his own studio as well. He just signed a 6-month retainer for $2,500 a month. Talk about knowing what you're going to get paid next month. Right? Yes. We love that. We love the retainers. Kyle Myers got a $5,500 wedding book this week. Shout out to you, Kyle.
Yeah.
And then Claire, this is what we love, what Claire did this week. She totally swapped over her pricing for all of her grad sessions last week. It was like 5 days ago, and she's already started selling them at the new prices. So shout out to you, Claire, landing some grad sessions at your new rate, which is amazing. We're proud of you, which is so good. And last but not least, One last shout out, Ezra. Not a retainer, but he said I did $2,000 in 3 days for some real estate and 2 engagements. So he's making stuff happen too.
Woo.
Shout out to you, Ezra. Killing it, man. But guys, we love all the wins. If you are surrounded by creatives who go, we don't make any money, you just got to change the people you're around.
When you do make money.
Yeah, you got to change the people you're around. We love to celebrate other creatives getting wins here inside of the greater Creativise community, especially inside of the Creativise Mastermind community. But hopefully that fires you up to go get some this week yourself. But this interview, you listen to the whole thing, guys, it is going to help you get closer to your next deal because Beba is not only so fun to be around, she's so well-spoken, but she's very, very strategic. She's genius. So hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. It's so great. Here is our episode with our good friend and our wedding filmmaker, our wedding photographer, Beba Vowels. Beba, welcome to the show. Beba Vowels, you're back for the 3rd time.
Yes.
Welcome back to the show, and thank you for having us in your home.
I know, it feels like welcome to the show.
Thank you for being on the show,
but
thank
also
you for
welcome
hosting
to
us.
Beba's home.
Oh, yes.
MTV Cribs.
Yes.
Thanks for being here, Beba.
Yes, thanks for having
Well,
me.
we got rapid fire. We've done this with you 2 other times on the podcast over many years. So it was about time we get you back on the show. But first question, where are you from? What's your business?
I am from Southern California and, well, originally from Kansas, but in Southern California now, and primarily wedding photography. Do a lot of little things like brands, lifestyle work, presets, but it all, comes back to wedding photography, and that's how I started.
Love it. And how long have you been in the creative industry for?
Since 2018, so
Let's go.
yeah, 7 or 8 years. I don't know.
Coming up on a decade, which is
Yes,
cool. That's
yeah.
awesome. And then our
biggest
favorite question, Beba, what's a flop you've had? We're obviously going to talk about so many successes, all of those things. What's a flop to just make you look human to the whole audience?
When I very first was starting, which I think we'll get into like how I started my business and stuff, which was just very fast paced. But when I first was starting, I attended a workshop, and one of the speakers was like showing her like how she organizes things. And I was like, how do you make the folders? I didn't know that you could make folders on
A computer?
a hard drive.
Oh,
No,
on
on
a
an
hard drive.
external hard drive. So I just had all my raws, all my edited photos, everything
goodness.
just on my hard drive.
That's so wholesome.
Because I didn't know that you could make folders. So
That's so ironic because I feel like you are so organized and like good at doing things.
You know what? There is someone out there listening to this podcast going, shoot, you can make a folder.
yeah, so you just right click.
Hey,
You
we
just right
had-
click.
Yeah, we had a moment like this with you recently.
I have these moments all the time.
There's always these moments where I'm like, wait, Krista, you didn't know that? What
Yeah.
was it?
I know.
It was like this funny, I think it was about a computer. I think it was something about a computer.
I don't know. Probably some shortcut or like something.
It's blanking my brain, but
I
there was
don't
something
know.
like that where I was like,
I'm a
been
late
doing this
adopter
for-
on
Yes.
technology.
Yeah.
Like I'm an early adopter on a lot of like ideas of what to do, but I'm a late adopter on technology. So I used Lightroom. We were laughing about this earlier. I like cold on Lightroom for like almost my entire wedding career.
Yeah. Honestly, I probably would have too if I didn't go to that workshop and learn all of the amazing things like making folders, culling in other programs other than Lightroom.
So that's the shout out to go to workshops.
Yes.
I don't think I went to my first workshop for a long time, and I think it showed. But thanks for being here, Beba. I love that
so
vlog.
for having me.
And yes, we are going to jump into your story. So for those of you, for people who maybe don't know your history of how you got started, bring us all the way back to the beginning. So back in 2018. What was your job and what did you pivot out of? And then how did you even get started in like the wedding industry at all?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I feel like everybody has this story of like, you wanted to do photography, like you had a camera, all the things. I didn't have a camera, but I like wanted to do it. And I was always that girl at school dances, like taking, the little camera photos and uploading them later. But I Googled like, how much does a photographer make? And it said like $20,000. I was like, oh, never mind. I don't want to do that anymore. So I let that dream go. I went to college, got married, moved out here. And when I moved out here, I was just working at Starbucks, and I was getting up super early for a morning shift one day. And I was just tired of working at Starbucks. So I just looked up like a BuzzFeed quiz, like what should I do with my life? And it said,
I
like,
love that.
Yeah, it was like
I love
photography,
that.
content creation, something like that. So I was like, okay, cool. And I had
Yes,
followed.
I'm making 20 grand.
Yes, yeah. And I was like, making more than probably what I was at Starbucks at the time.
Yes.
So I followed this girl on Instagram. She had shot a lot of like military homecomings, and she went to Iceland with this other girl. Anyway, the photographer that I had followed from all of this was hosting a workshop, and I was like, texted Bo. It literally launched that morning. And so I texted Bo and I was like, hey, can I go to this? It's like $2,000. He's like, yeah, sure, why not? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't even have a camera. So I signed up for this workshop, and then I bought a camera off of one of my friends.
First of all, I love that. I love that you literally bought to go to a photography workshop and you didn't even own a camera.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of this entire
And I love
story.
that you're just like, idea, I should maybe take this seriously.
Yeah.
I'm just going to instantly look this up.
Yes.
I'm going to buy a camera.
Yeah.
And I also love that Bo was like, yeah, why not? Go
Yeah,
for it.
I
Like,
know.
Bo
He was
just
so
like,
chill with
so
it.
in.
Well, and then I had so much
Bo's the
anxiety. I
best.
was like, I need to get a second job. So I literally went and got a waitressing job to make up the $2,000 just in case I
love it.
didn't. I was like, I don't want to have any regrets. So anyway,
awesome.
Yeah, went to the workshop. I learned so much and literally came home and quit my job and have been full-time since then. So, which
That's
probably don't
amazing.
recommend that for everybody, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
it worked for
yeah,
you.
I just
worked
had a
for
really
you.
good
Worked
for you.
situation. Yeah.
That's
Wow.
super, super cool. So what did the beginning phases feel like? Like if we were to go back to 2018, what did it feel like getting started in this? And what are some of the things that you did to like catch momentum quickly? Or did you feel like momentum wasn't quick? Did you feel like it was like a super grind?
Yeah.
And like a lot of not, hard work where you didn't see like fruit of your efforts? Or was it pretty quick for you?
I would say it's a mix of both. I definitely was on the grind for a long time. I think in 2018, I personally shot maybe like 2 or 3 weddings, if I remember right. And they were like, military weddings, like just ones that I had like pitched myself so hard to these couples.
Yeah.
But throughout all of that, I was, doing all the things like building my website, doing free shoots, networking as much as I could, like reaching out to every photographer that I could think of like second shooting, just doing everything that I could to get more clients. And then 2019, like really, I think I had like 30 weddings that year. So
Wow.
it was, I feel like, a mix of both. It was like slow because I, had the whole year, but I was also like grinding really hard during that time.
And were most of those 30 weddings like, where did those people come from? Like when you think back to like, okay, when I first had my first solid year, like where did a lot of those leads come from for you?
Yeah, I think it was mostly like Instagram, Pinterest, and really just like whenever I would get an inquiry, like I would do whatever it took to get those weddings. Like I was like, I want to shoot weddings and like, I want to, work with you. So I'll do whatever.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got started, you were like, hey, I'm just going to go full board into this, which I love. I love anytime anyone just like quits, gets the fear, and then like works out of the fear, right? Rather than trying to stay comfortable and like build something on the side, which oftentimes doesn't work. So you built this wedding, you got 30 weddings a year, and that really jump started your career. And so let's like fast forward. What have been some of like your career highlights in your mind? Like when you think about the last however many years it's been, what are some of like the high moments for you? The things that you're like, oh my gosh, I shot this wedding for these people or this place. Like what are some of those things that feel like moment based for you?
Yeah. I feel like I don't know if this is like necessary. It's like with my retreats, I feel a lot of like highs with my retreats that I've done and just like people that I've met and connections that have been made through those. I feel like retreats I just leave like just feeling on top of the world.
And give some context around what those retreats were and what you guys were doing.
Yeah, so they started, Christy was actually the very first guest speaker. And that was like right after you guys met.
We weren't even dating at that point.
Guys, I flew
Joey
into San
was there
Diego.
too. I was like, who is this man at this all-woman retreat?
Yeah, I walk in, there's like girls walking down like in their like pajamas to get breakfast in the morning at the Airbnb. So what was so fun about this was that was my first ever trip to come down here and pursue dating Christy.
Aww.
That was day one. I landed, literally got an Uber. I got dropped off, or you picked me up. Was it you
I
picked me
picked
up?
you up.
Christy picked me up, and we went straight there, literally straight to your retreat.
Yeah.
I sat in the back and watched Christy talk. You and her, were doing some stuff
she
in front of
killed
this
it.
workshop.
She did so good.
Christy killed it. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, I'm just down here in the U.S. I'm from Canada originally. I was like, down here in the U.S., I already, like, I'm so obsessed with this chick. I'm like, going to go hard and pursue this girl. And I was, like, bought in on that before, but it was really cool to see Christy and you
Well, I
guys
was
do that
so
stuff that
nervous.
day.
I'm like, I'm speaking at this retreat, which I'm already nervous, and then I have this like potential boyfriend in the back watching me. I was like, if I bomb this, it's a double bomb, right?
Yeah, we
Oh my
literally
gosh.
started like officially dating the next day.
Yeah,
That
no, I
next day.
remember
So
that.
you
You
know
get the
us
credit.
prior to
Yeah.
that.
You're welcome.
And you also
Yeah.
shot our wedding, which was also
Yes.
awesome.
You
did shoot our wedding.
That's
So
another.
many-
That's a little
amazing.
milestone right
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah.
okay, so
Is that one of your highs?
Christy, yeah, literally.
Yeah, no,
so
I was
Christy was
gonna
at
say
your
that.
first. Christy
Number
was at
one
your
high.
first roamers retreat. Did you call them roamers back then?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they were originally just like a series of styled shoots. They didn't really exist like back then. I feel like
Yeah.
it was mainly like workshops with like tons of education and like a few shoots. And I really wanted to do that, but I didn't feel like I was like in the position to be teaching anything. So I just did like trips where we would just do styled shoots and stuff. And then like a few in, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have Christy come. And then after that, it was like, wait, this is like really fun. Like it just takes it to a new level when there's education. I feel like the community just gets tighter and stuff. So I did a few in Hawaii, one in Cabo, tons in Southern California, just
So
yeah,
cool.
Florida, lots of random things. But those are always a lot of fun.
And talk about, let's just dive into this real quick. Talk about how content and how like styled shoots affected your business, and then how you've seen it affect other people's businesses as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. They're like the best thing that you can do for specifically like shooting weddings and couples. It's just so easy because like there's just couples everywhere.
Yeah.
And it just, if you shoot what you want to come in, then that's going to come in. Like it's, kind of sounds self-explanatory, but a lot
of people don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
a
it's
lot
a
of
great
people-
reminder.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're like, why am I not getting destination beach
Yeah.
weddings? It's like, well, because all of your content is in the
Yeah.
Midwest,
Yeah.
or in the mountains, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Or they're like, why am I not booking? And it's like, well, how many times have you posted on social this last
Yeah.
month? They're like, oh, 3. I haven't shot a wedding in 3 months. I don't
Yeah.
have content. It's
Yeah.
like, well, go fix the content.
Yeah.
problem. Yeah.
That's, I feel like I would hear that a lot at the workshops and stuff. It's like, oh, well, I just don't post because I don't have anything to post. It's like, well, then go make stuff. Like,
Yes,
it's not
absolutely.
that hard.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you said it's not that hard. So if someone's sitting here going, okay, I don't have content, and I, don't want to wait for like a retreat or a styled shoot that someone else is putting on.
Yeah.
What can someone just do that for themselves that's maybe like low hanging fruit for them?
Yeah,
to
I
get the
mean,
same
super
effect?
simple is just doing a styled couple shoot where you find a couple that fits the style of couples that you're trying to attract. One way that I did this a lot when I was first starting was I would go to hairdressers page and I would like see who they like girls that
That's
they would tag.
genius.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I would like find them, go to their Instagram, see if they had a boyfriend, or a lot of people have a lot of like don't work with influencers for free or whatever. Like I think it's the opposite because
100%. We're on the same page.
100% agree with
yeah,
you.
yeah. I mean, because not only are you getting to shoot them, but they're also going to maybe share you on their socials, and that's just
Yeah.
like more exposure. Like
Absolutely.
Even if they weren't able to maybe share something with you, you're still probably getting them. You're not having to pay them to model for
Yeah.
you. Like,
Exactly.
if you flip that whole thing on its head, it's like, don't work for influencers for free, charge them. It's
Yeah.
like, no, be grateful they're not charging you.
Yeah.
It's
right. As
like-
if
Totally.
you're going after them, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
totally.
Yeah.
There's a reason big companies use influencers,
Yeah.
right? It's because a lot of times they work. Sometimes not, but that's what you do your due diligence and make sure that they really match your,
Totally.
whether influencer aesthetic or whatever it is or location.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think like just doing like couple shoots is obviously like the easiest, but then even if you wanted to do like a bridal shoot, like let's say that you want to start shooting at the beach, like just reach out to dress companies. I would do this all the time, and I would like go in shops and just ask them if I could just borrow a dress for just a few hours, and I'd bring it back, and I obviously like keep it clean, like don't like trash their dresses or anything. And yeah, just like finding couples and like really focusing. I think another thing that helped my styled shoots was when I really focused on like slowing down and like really during the shoot figuring out like what shots I wanted to get rather than just shooting and like going as fast as possible and like going through the same motions that I would with a paid shoot. Like take these free shoots that you're doing and really get the content that you want to get and just be slow and telling the couple beforehand, like, sorry if I'm like on my phone a lot, like I just really want to take my time with this and like get shots that I want. And
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a really good tip because I'm somebody that you're trained in the wedding space. Like if you're not running, you're behind, right? So I think it is good to go, hey, let me like slow it down. Let me actually get a shot list prepared and like inspo shots. And let me actually get what I need out of this because it is like you're using your time and your time is worth something.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay, so these styled shoots were obviously a high for you. Running these Roamers retreats were incredible, and they were so incredible. What have been other career highs for you? Like certain weddings, people you've worked with?
Yeah.
What have been some highs?
Even some brands, if you got
if you've got brands that you want to
work with. I mean, I feel like I loved the Paris, Hannah and Dylan, Hannah Godwin, the bachelor couple. That was awesome. Definitely a high for me. That was crazy and so much fun and a lot of work, but so worth it. And I feel like not all, but a majority of my couples that I'm shooting their weddings these days, have inspiration photos from that wedding, which obviously just makes you, feel really good when somebody sends an inspiration board and it's like a lot of your photos. So
that's awesome.
Definitely a high.
That's really cool. And we actually have a full podcast on you talking about
and
like talking about working with influencers, talking about working in the celebrity wedding, what that was like. I don't remember the number of that podcast, but we'll put it in the show notes if you want to go and listen to it. Which is awesome. Well, that's great. So you've obviously been able to get to a spot where I'm sure that you say no a lot, right? That you have a lot of inbound people coming in, ideal clients. Talk about what it's like for you of generating leads for people you actually really want to work with, and like what have been, what advice would you give for somebody who's maybe like, I want to be in the position Beba's in where she like, can turn people away, or she has like an associate team, or like we're going to dive into that in a second. But like any other tips for like people when it comes to booking weddings, or if they're feeling discouraged? Like, did you ever go through a season where you felt really discouraged about bookings, or has it always just been like a high the entire time? Like, have you ever gone through one of those like lows?
Did you have a low season? And then if you did, what did you do?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was like 2022 or something like that. It was right after 2021 because it was all the COVID reschedules. And I was like, I am done with weddings. Like I have shot way too many. I'm so exhausted. And so I completely stopped posting them. I think I still shared on Pinterest, but Pinterest was like my only way of doing that, of marketing. And that definitely like took a dip, just stopped sharing, and I was very slow to reply to emails and stuff. And then I kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, wait, maybe I shouldn't have like backed off that hard. And then I kind of like rebuilt it back up by just posting again and, marketing and all, revamping my website, doing blogs, all of the things. But I feel like just when you're consistent, it might take a bit, but eventually it will just like
absolutely
compound.
What's the toolkit if someone's like, okay, you just said a bunch of things, I'm only doing maybe one of those, what else should I be doing? Like, what are all the boxes that if you were like, if I had to from scratch, or if I was just from a low season right now, really vamp up the amount of inquiries I'm getting, what would be your couple of focuses that you'd be like, these are my guarantees that I know that if I put energy in this direction, I get inquiries?
I mean, I think for sure Instagram and Pinterest, those are like by far my number one. And my Instagram use, like the one that I grew originally, had a ton of followers. So a lot of people would just give that excuse of like, oh, well, you just have a lot of followers, so that's why you get inquiries. And then when I like decided that I was getting back into weddings, I had already like completely transformed that Instagram into like a personal page. So then I created a new Instagram, and it literally started with 0 followers, and I was still getting inquiries. So that's a dumb excuse. Like followers don't matter in that sense.
100%.
Yes. So what's kind of like your social formula for yourself? Like, do you have like, oh, I post these types of things in this type of order, or like this time, not time of day, because that's
what was the strategy
restarting
what's the strategy? That new account?
Honestly, I didn't like do a ton other than just post the content that I wanted to get in. So like I wasn't sharing family sessions, I wasn't sharing maternity, I wasn't sharing anything that I was doing that I didn't want to attract. And I really wasn't like, I would pretty much get on that page, post, and then go back to my personal page. So I wasn't even like spending a ton of time and energy on it, but I just was being consistent. I think consistency is the main thing. Whether it is, I don't think stories reach as many new people. But yeah, just posts, getting on explore page. And then Pinterest, always linking my stuff on my Pinterest and my website back to my Instagram. Sorry, I feel like I got off track of.
No,
No,
that's
really
good.
helpful.
You're saying like you're creating a content system that's working with each other.
Yeah.
Right. You're going hard on Instagram. Your website's dialed in, and then your Pinterest is also connected to both of those things.
Do you feel like Pinterest is still a thing? Like, do you still see a lot of traction on Pinterest?
Yeah. I actually my website was under construction for far too long, and because of that, my Pinterest greatly declined. But I still get a ton of inquiries from Pinterest, even though I haven't posted on there in almost a year now.
Wow.
So yeah, Pinterest is definitely, that's where brides go to find inspiration.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that Pinterest is, and it's just another it just like all circles together. Like people go to Pinterest and then that links to your website, and then your website probably links to your Instagram, and it's just, the more times that somebody sees
give a little mini crash tutorial on Pinterest for someone who's like, okay, I've only used Pinterest to like find outfit inspo. Like, and I'm a wedding photographer and I want to book more weddings, and how do I use Pinterest? Like, do I just randomly upload photos? Like, what's your process? Like, a little quick tutorial on Pinterest.
So just super quick, Tailwind is the best app ever. It's basically a little plugin that you can get for your browser, and you can just take it to your website, click the little plugin, and it will load all of your posts or all of your photos from a blog post and make them into Pinterest post. And then it schedules them for the time that your followers on Pinterest are most active. It's so great. At one point, I think I had like 60 posts going up a day.
Wow.
And it was like scheduled out for like a full year. So
wow.
So you're
That's
saying
sick.
everything starts with the website. You go to the web, you build yourself a blog, and then you, using Tailwind, you link all of that stuff to Pinterest, and it fully automates the posting schedule.
Yeah.
So
that's
cool.
amazing.
And you can like batch it. Like you can do all of it in one day, and it might take like 2 hours in one day, and then you have posts, you can adjust it for whatever you need. But
What's the
and then
cost on Tailwind?
I think when I got it, I think it was like $40 a year or
So
something. Yeah.
like how many inquiries,
That's
how many
wild.
leads have you gotten
yeah.
from a $40
Yeah, I mean, when I wasn't...
expenditure?
What do you feel like the Instagram versus Pinterest, like let's say when you were at your most active for Pinterest, like what was the split?
Honestly, if I remember right, I think that it was like 40% Pinterest,
Cool.
60% Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's
Pinterest
huge.
brides, I always tell them whenever I'm actually shooting their weddings, I love Pinterest brides because they care about the details. Like they like really look at, they're making a Pinterest board. So
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
They're hiring somebody off Pinterest.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I love that.
Yeah, that's great. For someone who is feeling late to the game, either to social or to Pinterest. Oh my gosh, Beba, you built this second account and it's already way bigger than even just my first Instagram account. I've gotten discouraged. I've stopped posting. My inquiries are low, or I'm not even on Pinterest yet. Is it even worth it? Should I try? It's so hard to build an account these days on Instagram. It's so hard to figure out Pinterest. What's your answer to people that say those things?
Yeah, it's not that hard. It's just if you just
honesty.
do it and just be consistent, it will pay off. Like, and you don't have to grow to have tens of thousands of followers
100%.
to get inquiries.
100%.
Yeah.
So here's one of the things that I feel like we've admired about your business, watching it over the last however many years, probably like 6 to 7 years or something like that. You treat your own business as if it was like a client of you. Like you put in time, you put aside time, and you list off these things and go, no, these are like non-negotiables. I have to do this. I've got to get the Pinterest system set up. I've got to get Tailwind set up. I got to get my socials figured out so that I can actually grow. I'm going to put aside time to book and create my own style shoot so I have content. You treat yourself like, Beba Vowels Photo is a client of Beba, the person, and you put aside time to do that. Where a lot of creatives get caught up in the chaos of all the things they could be doing, or they get caught up in the chaos of maybe even just like shooting and doing weddings or something like this. Because that's a classic wedding cycle, right?
Yeah.
You get a ton of weddings, you're so stoked, you have a great year, and then you spend so much of your time fulfilling all those weddings, and you have such limited bookings for the next year, and people start to get super discouraged, like, did I just have a good year and I'm never going to get bookings again? Like, did I fall off? It's like, no, you just stopped doing the things you should have been doing. So what's your, just encouragement to people that maybe need to start thinking about their own business as a client and putting more time aside for that? Because that's something we've watched you do, and you do really, really well. And we were talking about this on the way over here in the car. Like, that's not normal. There's not like you, and we've got some other people that we can think of that come to mind really quickly when we think about people that have had really strong businesses. And it's always tied back to the people that really, really do carve out time to treat their own business like it's a client, you know, and put time into it. So what's your encouragement to people that struggle to do that?
I feel like the main thing that helped me with it is just having a goal and having something that you're, you know, whether it's financially or just like lifestyle, like what are you working for, and like why do you want to grow your business? Like if you don't have a reason for it, then it's just then
the motivation falls away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started, I very much was just trying to not fail because I like quit my job and did everything
you're like, I need
so
to
fast.
Eat.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And Bo was in the Marines. So it was like everything that he is doing is like amazing and providing for the family. It's like, but I want to add to that. And like we knew that he was going to get out of the Marines. It's like, okay, we want to buy a house. Like we want to do these things. We want to be able to like give back to the community, like have kids someday and like, you know, have a future for them. And yeah, sorry, I feel like that's such a loaded question.
Yeah,
no,
it's a big
that's
question.
great.
But so what you're saying is you've got to actually find like what's the driving force.
Yeah,
To
your why. Like figuring out why you're doing what you're
if you
doing.
just want to shoot weddings, then it's like,
don't be surprised
Yeah.
you're not beating somebody else in your same community. Not beating. Beating's the wrong word. You're not ahead. You're not getting more bookings or whatever. Or even you're not getting more bookings than maybe you thought you'd be getting. Yeah.
Right. Like you're disappointed. Well, I think it's so cool, and you're such a testament to like that consistent action because you have built something that has led to those things that you're talking about, right? Like you're now in a spot where Bo's been able to join you in the business. You guys have been able to move. You guys were in Hawaii for a while. You guys lived in Kansas. Now you're back in SoCal. You have all the flexibility that you have been wanting, and you've built a team and all of these cool things, which I would love to now talk about is you have moved a lot of different places. Yeah. So you've made that move. Yeah. And I know something that we hear from people all the time is, you know, hey, my business was booming in Alabama, but I just moved to Colorado and I know nobody. And I feel like I'm restarting and I'm so discouraged. What's your advice for people who are moving states, moving countries, moving wherever from someplace to someplace where they feel like they all of a sudden lost their business, right?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that when you do make your moves? And what are some things that you've put in place to help you with that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people like romanticize like, oh, I'm just going to move to California and I'll figure it out. And it's like, you're an adult and like you probably shouldn't do that. Like you kind of need to have a plan. And it's, I mean, with anything in business, like you need to have more of a plan than just, you know, I'm going to go there and figure it out. So when he decided that he was getting out of the Marines and we were going to move to Kansas, it's like, okay, it's going to be dead of winter in Kansas. Like nobody gets married in the winter of Kansas. So like we need to save money. Like we need to figure out what we're going to do before we make that move. And so we did that. You know, we had a few brands on retainer that we could shoot in our house during those winter months. And we knew that we were going to be moving to Hawaii shortly after that. And that's around the time when I started building my team in California, with also knowing that like I wasn't going to be getting a ton of bookings for my team. So I was going to have to come back to California quite a bit. So we traveled back to California a good bit the first year, which was so worth it to us because we were living in Hawaii. And also during that time, I was sharing a lot of my pre-Hawaii content that I had gotten before we lived there. So if you're planning on moving somewhere, you know, maybe plan a couple trips before solely for getting content and
brilliant,
having things to market yourself before you go there. That way you're not just going there blind, like, okay, I'm here, like, who wants to book
Where's
me?
the booking?
Yeah. And then also when you get there, just continue to do that grind, because when you move to a new place, it almost is like starting a new business where you have to, you know, continue marketing yourself. When we were in Kansas, I knew that I didn't want to do like a lot of Midwest weddings, so I didn't try very hard to like market myself there. And I actually shot no weddings there because I like, that's just proof if you don't, you know, market yourself in a place, then they're not going to come. But we had set up other things, you know, and like, okay, we're going to be going back to California for this wedding, or we have a team wedding this week, like other ways that we could still live there and have a sustainable life.
Yeah. I like the idea of like pre-planning out, like, hey, let's go take some visits. Like if you know you have to move because of your spouse's job to somewhere, it's like instead of just, waiting, right?
Yeah.
Actually going out and doing that. I think also implementing the like styled shoot side of things with
Yeah.
influencers in the area. Like I always tell people like, hey, if you're moving to a new area, try to find influential people. It doesn't mean they have to be influencers. They could be like a family at a local church that knows everybody, right? And like if you do a shoot for them, all of their friends are going to see it and be like, who's that person? I want to book with them, right? Like there's other things that you do, but you do have to just get in the mindset of like restarting your business.
Yeah.
Like that's happened to me. I've moved a couple times and I have to restart the business and you have to do the things that you did at the beginning again and get excited about it, right? Which is really cool. Okay, so you mentioned team. So I want to talk about that for a second. One, I want to talk about team in the sense of outsourcing and kind of streamlining your processes because I mean, you shot 30 weddings in your first full year of business, which that's a lot of weddings.
Yeah.
Is that how many weddings what was your top amount of weddings you shot in a year? Do you know?
Oh gosh, it was definitely 2021. And that year was just scary because it was a lot of travel too.
Yeah.
And Bo was in the Marine, so I was traveling alone.
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember how many it was. It was definitely over 30.
Yeah.
And
That's a lot.
that was my max.
Yes.
I was like, this is too much.
And it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
But so you were really busy. You've been busy since you started. What are some things that you've done? We'll talk about associate in a second, but what are some things that you've done to lighten the load and make it doable for yourself?
Yeah, I've definitely had seasons of like having more people that I've outsourced to. You know, I've outsourced my editing, my culling, Pinterest, blogging, all of that. I go through like different seasons of outsourcing different things. Sorry, what was the question?
No, yeah. So with that, so like let's say like editing, for example.
Yeah.
What's your take on this? Because we hear creatives all the time who will say, no, you don't understand. I can't outsource my editing.
Right. Like
that's
they're
why
hiring me
clients
for the
hire
editing.
me.
Yeah.
What's your response?
Yeah. What's your take?
I mean, if you want to not waste. The waste is an intense word.
I love it.
But if you want to spend a lot of your time just adjusting sliders in Lightroom, then that's cool. But it just takes so much time. And if you can have somebody do the like legwork of it and then you do the fine tuning, it's going to save you days of work.
So much
days.
Yeah.
Don't be sitting in Lightroom culling like I was.
I'm assuming you've got a similar take for AI editing, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's just touch on that real quick.
Yeah, let's
before we
talk
get
about
into-
hiring out people to edit for you and then AI editing. What
Yes.
do you prefer and what's your process?
Yeah,
Have you done
so
both?
back in the really busy year, 2021, I had an editor that I outsourced a lot of things to. I think it was like 35 cents an image. So each wedding would be like anywhere from like $200 to $400.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Great
Because how
price.
many hours does a wedding take? A full
To edit?
gallery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
at least
so
10.
many hours.
Yeah.
A
At
couple
least
$100. It's like,
Yeah.
man.
It's a good price.
So she was amazing. She was so good, and she would cull for me for an extra $50, which I always
Dirt
added
cheap.
that on. Like culling
Absolutely.
is
That's
the
an
worst
obvious
thing.
add-on,
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, she was so great, and I never really had the problem of like, oh, I can't outsource it because it's like I'm still going through and like checking every image and like making adjustments. So I would still spend probably about like an hour to 2 hours going through each image and like making sure that it's to my liking.
Yeah.
And I still do that today. Now I use Imagine AI, and it is much cheaper. And I'm so sad for my editor because I'm sure she's losing a lot of work, but Imagine AI is just so amazing because it's just even better than what she was doing. Like it just fully has read my style and does all the cropping and adjusting, and you can add on so many different things.
And how long does it take for the AI to edit an entire wedding?
Oh, minutes.
Yeah.
Like less than 10 minutes, I think.
So crazy.
Guys,
Yeah.
if you're not doing this,
crazy.
Yeah.
like this is just,
Wow.
we actually we're down in SoCal because we were at a retreat. And there was a big conversation on AI with a lot of the people that were at the retreat and talking about different use cases for it. And I was just so reminded, we use a lot for different things, but I was so reminded, I'm like, this is just not a question of like, is it ethical?
Yeah.
Should you do it? It's a question of, are you going to exist in a
When
couple
are you gonna
years
do
if
it?
you don't
Yeah.
do it?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it is just, it's so fundamental to
And
business principles,
Yeah.
which is like you want to find things that you can get your time back for
Yeah.
as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
And AI is providing so many solutions to that right now, which is incredible. So,
Well,
and this
I
goes for the brand
remember-
space too. Like
Yeah.
we use AI editing and AI software for editing all brand stuff as well, which is really cool. Just helping us call and do all that. So helpful.
I remember being in the spot where I was like, I don't want to outsource editing, and this is pre-AI, so I didn't want to outsource editing because I felt
dating
like,
yourself.
yeah, I know, I am old. But I remember being like, oh, like I just feel like I don't want to like skimp my clients out, or like I don't want them to feel like they're not getting as great of a product. And I think that's a good mindset to have. But what you have to understand is that it will probably come out better than what you could ever do.
The
And
amount
that's
of
what's
times that I've
crazy.
gotten a gallery back from Imagine, I'm like, wait, that did better than I would have. Like,
honestly.
I like look at the gallery, I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
And what the shift was for me is I went, oh, if I can save myself 10 hours behind the chair, one, I could help more people, right? Like I could do more shoots. I could take on more work of people that really need someone who's going to take care of them really well. And also I can put more effort into the client experience. Like I can take more time to actually be really great at responding to emails, being on time about stuff like that. Like I can give a way better experience not being burnt out from sitting in a chair all week, and actually show up to weddings with like a lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so many things that you can give a client a way better experience. And I always just say, just like you're saying, like do the final like 5% of just like, you know, quality check, right? And that is so important.
Well, the truth is having like 100% brain capacity to do the final like 10 or 5%
totally.
of like finishing the images.
You don't get editing
you'll be
eyes.
so much better, right? Because when you spend 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours editing a gallery,
Yes.
if everyone's a little bit honest, by the end of it, you're like, it's very
reception,
hard.
you're like next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? It's like it's very hard
exactly.
for you to be doing your best work where AI can do so much of the legwork. So anyways, we can move on.
Do you have like a discount thing with the AI tool you use? Imagine?
Yes.
Imagine?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually sell my own profile with
Oh,
them.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll put it in the show notes.
Well, we'll put that in the show notes if you're down for that.
Yeah.
Because that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Belly.
Hey,
This is Beba's dog.
Belly,
So
go lay
cute.
down.
she's so cute.
Okay,
She can
amazing.
hang,
So-
she can hang.
Anything else? Anything else you recommend like hiring out that's helped you other than just like editing? Like I know you said like, oh, some administrative things.
Yeah.
Like when do you say to somebody like, oh, this is time for you to like get an admin or help with like emails or help with Pinterest? Like what's the point of outsourcing for you?
Yeah. I am so sorry.
Oh no, she's
come on up.
great. Come on.
She's coming up for a look. Come on.
You want
here.
to come up? Come on.
She'll probably.
So
If
what do
you're
you
not
feel like?
watching
What do you
this,
feel like
again,
the line?
This is your
Oh
pitch.
yeah,
You
there's
need
just
to
a
be
cute
watching on
dog.
Spotify or on YouTube. You're
what's
missing the dogs.
just
yeah.
shove her off.
So what's your line for outsourcing for yourself and that you recommend for other people?
Yeah, I felt like when I had gotten to a point of like I really don't like outsourcing things that I don't know how to do myself. Like I want
That's
to.
I
so
love this,
freaking
Beba.
smart.
Yeah, I really like to learn things myself. That way, you know, whenever I am outsourcing, I know what they're doing and
If it
how
works good.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So I always learn it myself first, and then once I feel comfortable with it and comfortable enough to fully teach somebody else how to do it, that's when I'll outsource. So blogs was like, I think that was the first thing that I outsourced. And it was the easiest thing to outsource because it's like, okay, just like throw the photos in there. Like,
Yes.
here's how you do it. And then Pinterest as well, like uploading them to Tailwind. And that blogs and Pinterest, I mean, I talked about it earlier, but just such a vital part in my marketing strategy.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't even remember how much I paid her, but it was so minimal. And it was
So
just a
worth it.
friend that I used to waitress
Yeah.
with that did it for me.
That's great.
So yeah, to outsource something isn't taking away from your business at all. It's just allowing you to do have
love
more
that.
hours in your day to
Yeah.
do something
That's
else.
great.
Market, to
That's so
sell, to
good.
grow your own brand.
So
to
do
increase
it.
the client experience. as
Release the
Christy was
control,
saying.
everybody.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
talk
good.
about releasing control. Let's talk about associate shooting.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of buzz around that. There's a lot of buzz of, you know, wedding photographers who are like, hey, I'm kind of tired of shooting 40 weddings a year. Like I have clients that want to have my product and yet there's only one of me,
Yeah.
right? So I think this is a common conversation and I think it's a common dream for people, but I'm sure there's a lot of back end side that
Yeah.
maybe you don't realize is going to happen or whatever. So I want to start off with what do you wish you knew about associate shooting? Not you associate shooting.
Yeah, yeah.
Beba hiring associates. What do you wish you knew about that whole world before you got into it?
Oh gosh. to like really vet your people before. I had grown an associate team or started an associate team a few years ago, and like before the current team that I have now. And there was just a few things that I just like picked people that I thought were really nice and like, you know, they did good work, they had good gear, all of that stuff, but they didn't have the same style that I had. And that was really hard for me when I was like editing, and even down to like, they have amazing gear, but it's like he's shooting on a 70 to 200 and I don't even have that lens. And it's like that those photos look so different than,
Those focal lengths is a different look.
Yeah.
Totally different look. Shoot on
Yeah.
those lengths.
And they were really great. And there was just a few instances where I was like, I just don't feel like this is similar work to what so then when I started to do associate team again, I was hesitant because I didn't love how it went before. So I think, the number one thing is just really vetting your people in all aspects, like making sure that they're, you know, going to show up on time and like be, you know, I had, I think like 3 or 4 calls with each photographer before I, you know, fully brought them onto my team. It kind of worked out good because I was going on maternity leave. So those weddings, you know, they were shooting them because I physically couldn't do it.
Yes.
So it worked out good, like timing wise, but sorry, did that answer your question?
Yeah, no,
great.
totally. So with associate, what's kind of like the process, if you feel comfortable sharing? Like, because some people are like, okay, is this like a profitable business model?
Yeah.
Like, is this something that I should pursue, or am I just like paying them almost all the money and then I have like a little tip on top for me for like managing the client? Like, is it profitable? And is it worth it? Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Like, kind of like, is it worth the work and the effort? And
Yeah.
is it a lot of work and work on your side? Because I think sometimes the myth is that, oh, I'm just going to get a bunch of associates to shoot the weddings for me, and I don't really have any work to do, so I'm just making money, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, you definitely still have work. Like, you have to be down to work still. So how it works for me is I do all the communicating up until the photography timeline is made. So the photographer doesn't even talk to the couple until then. And I make that known to the couple. Like, they are essentially a substitute teacher. Like, they're going to come on the day of and shoot your wedding, but everything else is through me. I do all communicating, creating the timeline, culling, editing, all of that stuff. What makes it more manageable is outsourcing my culling, and by outsourcing, Bo. Bo does the culling. Yeah, shout out Bo.
That's great,
and he's amazing at it. But outsourcing culling, outsourcing editing. So I'm doing fine tuning, communicating through email, a call if they want one, and creating the timeline. So for me, it's definitely profitable. I do have a number that like I don't go below. So I know that I'm going to be profiting, you know, at least X amount. And paying my associates fairly still.
Yeah, of course.
Of course,
that's great.
And there is so much, like, client management is such a huge aspect of it, and like client, you know, obviously delivery and everything like that. So I think if you're listening to this going, I want to get into the associate space, you got to love the business side, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to love the relational side, the client management side. Like,
and you have to be on top of it too, because like communication is the number one thing. I heard this quote forever ago. It's like, to be unclear is to be unkind. And I love that so much because, and that's like so true with the team. Like, you have to be so clear to the photographer, so clear to the couple, just so that everybody is on the same page. And the email that I send when I am connecting the couple to the photographer is so intense. It's like, okay, here are the shot lists that you, the bride, gave me that I am giving to them. Here's the timeline. Like, if there are any changes, they need to be made now, because like, if anything's missed on the wedding day, it's like,
Okay, so
not
I love
because
this.
of a lack of communication.
This is a really, really big point, and I think this is not just important for obviously an associate business. This is also super important if you're the one shooting anything, whether it's also weddings or it's brands. But what you're talking about right here is you're defining the scope of work, and then you're saying, if anything's going to change, we need to make the change the scope of work right now, because then we're going to sign off on this. And where I think a lot of people get into trouble with clients, whether it's in the wedding space or definitely in the brand space, is they never draw that line in the sand and say, here's the scope of work we're developing. If anything's changing, we need to know, because this is what we're planning, prepping, and going to be looking for the day of. And if you don't have that and you're just kind of showing up, oh yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's like you are walking yourself into a problematic situation where you're probably going to miss something or expectations were misaligned. So what does the scope of work look like for you? Maybe it's for an associate wedding, or maybe it's just for your weddings in general. Maybe even just throw a little bit of touch on this if you do this in the brand space as well. But how do you build those scopes? What's in that? And what are they, quote unquote, like signing off on that makes communication really clear than going forward actually towards the shoot?
Yeah. I mean, the questionnaire, like pre-wedding questionnaire, is the most important thing. And I tell the couple that, like, take your time filling this out. Like, if it takes you 3 weeks to fill that out, like, it's okay. I need every detail. And in that questionnaire, I have so many intense questions of, like, not necessarily like shot lists. Like, yes, I have like family shot lists, but like, what are the most important moments that you want to remember? Like, and I asked that like 3 different times in there because it's like, I, might not know that, you want a ton of photos of you and your dad. So your first look with your dad, I might throw in like 3 of them, and I'm using that example because the last wedding that I shot, she told me like 2 different times, my dad and me's moments are very, very important to me. So it's like, okay, I know to like focus on that and like, get his reaction during the ceremony, like things like that. Whereas before, and I just recently revised my questionnaire. So before I didn't have that question. I also like asking what drew couples to my work, whether it's like editing or what, kinds of shots, and also relaying that on to the photographer as well. Like, okay, this is what they like of my work. I just had an associate wedding last week when I was in Mexico. There was an associate shooting a wedding here. And she said that she loved all of the little moments, like, the squeeze of a hand. She's like, I didn't hire a videographer. So like, I want those little moments captured. So I told the second shooter, it's like, okay, the main shooter is going to be doing, the main moments. Yeah. I want you to focus on the little moments.
Yeah. That's cool.
And also telling the couple, like, if that couple hadn't already booked a second shooter, I would have recommended to her getting a second shooter because the main photographer is going to be getting,
the main things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
I
That's
like
so
that.
important, guys. And whether you're in the brand space or you're in the wedding space, like what Beba was talking about, which is defining the scope of work and then getting a lot of detail from the client on that is so important, because not only does it make sure that you don't miss anything expectation wise between you and the client, but if you ever go down the associates route or you ever outsource things to people, you've now got a like run sheet on, hey, here's exactly what I need, right? Because the worst thing is when you hire someone to do something, whether you're outsourcing your editing or you're having an associate come and help you shoot something, or a video assistant or a production assistant for a day of for a brand shoot. The worst thing is when you get to the end of that and you go, they sucked. Yeah. That did not work out. But if you're really honest, it was your fault because you didn't set them up for success, right?
Yeah,
Which is something I've definitely experienced. A good friend of ours said, if you're mad at somebody you hired and they would be shocked you're mad at them, it's 100% your fault. Yeah. Because you did not define the scope or define expectations clearly enough, right? So anyways, that's a big point. I love that. That's great.
That is really great.
I have that a lot with since I shot Hannah Godwin's wedding, so many people say, I just want photos like hers. Like, it looked so in the moment. Like, I want so many and it's like, that wedding, there was a lot of not in the moment. Like, we had to get a lot of specific shots, and you need to know that. Like, if you want photos like that, you're going to have, like, we're going to spend time taking photos.
Time,
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Or it's like, or you got to agree to go to France and shoot in an
Spend
amazing castle.
Client
expectations can be wild. Well, that's really cool, Beba. Any just like final words of like encouragement or advice to anybody that's in the wedding space that like is looking at what you're doing and going, I would love to like be in that spot. Any just like final words of encouragement for somebody who's maybe feeling discouraged right now, and this episode is kind of helping them get through that. What would be your advice to them?
I would say just find things that make it fun. Like Bo is starting a business right now, and it's like, you're in the fun part. Like, you're in like such a fun part right now of like, you just get to go and shoot what you want. And if you're feeling discouraged and like, if you're not booking what you want, like, this is the fun part. And if you think about it that way of like, okay, I can go and create the stuff that I want to create rather than shooting the stuff that I have to shoot, then it's just going to be, you're going to be a lot more successful. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Enjoy every part of it.
Yeah.
Every single part of it.
Yeah, the things you enjoy, and then learn to enjoy the things that you might not necessarily enjoy, but as Beba's talking about,
I like that.
Or learn it and then outsource it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And if you really hate it, outsource it.
That's so good.
That's great.
Beba, thank you for being on the show. This is great.
Thanks for coming to my house.
Thank you for having us. We will have to have you back on at some point.
Yeah.
This is obviously, not the end of you coming on the show, but thank you for just giving so much wisdom on what it looks like to grow a wedding business. But also, I just appreciate how you're just like, no, like do the things. Do the hard work.
Yeah, sorry if I came out a little intense. On
No,
some
that's
parts.
amazing. That matches us.
it.
That's what we talk about all the
need
time.
it.
So we love when people come on and reinforce that. 'Cause
Yes. That's what's
this
really
is-
helpful.
Yeah.
It is what's helpful.
What's funny about this career is it's so cool that we get to do these things for work that sometimes it's really easy to lose sight and perspective on that. There's some aspects of this job that you might not love, but it's so important to help us continuing to succeed in this career.
Yeah.
And we often just lose a perspective that's like, we could be doing anything else.
Yeah.
We would trade 1,000 times. You'd be 2 days back in your old job before
Yeah.
you'd be like, I will go so hard at the things
Totally.
that I neglected
Yeah.
that cost
Yeah.
me the growth that I was looking for. So
Yeah.
just thanks for just reminding everybody of that and being a good example of that too. So
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for being here,
having me.
Beba.
Yes, thank
Appreciate
you
ya.
guys.
Well, that was such a fun episode with Beba. It was so fun to just be in her house and meet Rocco and our dog and see Bo, and it was just so fun. What a
So
good
good.
conversation. Everything that Beba talked about, all the links and all that kind of stuff is going to be in the show notes. So if you want to hit that up, whether it's her presets, whether it's some of the codes that she got, the productivity course that we shot with her. Now, I will say that was a couple years ago.
That was like 4 years ago,
The content
maybe.
still rocks. We probably look a little bit different, couple years younger, but still an incredible thing to get access to, and it's totally free. So
Yeah.
we linked that below in the show notes. But yeah, huge shout out to Beba for just being incredible. and being
Beba
on
is the
show.
best, and you guys made it this far. I'm sure you're convinced, just like we are. She is so smart, so strategic, and just genius with what she does. So huge shout out to you, Beba. Thank you for being here, guys. Make sure you go follow her over on Instagram. We'll list all of that here in the show notes. Go hit up not only her photo page but her personal page as well. And we'll catch you guys next week on the next week's episode of the Creative Rise podcast. So glad you're here. Make sure you share it with a friend if this episode has been impactful for you. Go hit up Beba online. We'll catch you guys next week.